Hey, thank you for listening. This is Jefferson Keith Langley, Oz Work, an inside look. Secretly, it's client confessions, but the clients don't know that. So we're going to have a chat with Nancy Mae Simpson. She's a executive in the business world, and she's also an entrepreneur and going on her journey to launch her own brand as an efficiency, performance, and executive elite coach. She can tell you more about that through the conversation, but we're going to take a look at what it's like in these sessions working with me and how I collaborate with my clients and give them an opportunity to share in a very raw, transparent way about their experience, and we'll take a look at the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, Nancy, welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for asking me to be part of this today.
Absolutely, 100%. So I just wanted to, have a chat. It's very unrehearsed, very kind of organic flow about, our journey together so far. It's been about 30 months, and we've been doing sessions and the boosters and everything, and just wanted to, kind of start off with, what was it like when you first spoke to me about the process and my, deep dive explanation to you, and what was your experience like in those moments, in that call, so that I can get a feel for that experience myself and my own growth about making myself better and everything, but at the same time, hear that experience and share with those who will be listening to this.
Sure. Well, I remember our first call. I would say that the overall feeling was shocking because you honed in on exactly a whole bunch of stuff that I was reflecting on and I wanted to work on, and you went directly there without really knowing me. I mean, we connected through Messenger or something, and you told me a little bit about what you were doing, but honestly didn't know you. Started speaking with you, and you just went directly to the point that I was looking for help with. So I was like, wow, how does he know this? It was a little bit like, wow, over the top. But at the same time, it was like, yes, because I had done a lot of coaching, both one-on-one and also in group sessions and other programs, and that helped me a lot in terms of structure and processes and all that type of stuff. But it wasn't zoning in specifically on the really hardcore deep work I needed help with, and I just had come to a point really where I wasn't completely sure if that kind of help existed. And then we had the conversation, and I was just like, yes, this is the next step that makes sense, and this is the person I need to work with. So that's kind of how it went for me.
Well, interesting. And was my explanation of what I do, because, there's this ongoing thing that people are trying to figure out what it is I do, what am I, they want to kind of explain it in their words rather than listen and hear how it's explained and understand from my words. So I would like you to take an opportunity to say, I have a deck that I send out and my manager and advisors put together, and it clearly says, what I've done, who I've helped. I mean, the caliber of people I've helped, taking what people would say very, not necessarily run-of-the-mill, but just people who've never done certain things before, or they wouldn't necessarily consider themselves overachievers, and turn them into these highly productive organic machines or whatever. But, I'd like to get it from your experience so far. What is your explanation? If someone were to say, like, tell me about Jefferson, what is it he does? What would you call him? I mean, I know there's words out there that clients nickname me, the human architect, that kind of stuff. But please share what from your perspective, if you don't mind.
Sure, yes. I remember before I decided to take sessions further with you, you did send out kind of that summary of the people you worked with. To be honest, I was super intimidated because I'm like, wow, this person is willing to work with me, and he's like helped all these like celebs and sports figures and high level people, and I was actually a little bit intimidated by that because I just wasn't sure what to expect and whether I could kind of meet the benchmark of the level that you were wanting to work with people at. But you made the offer, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't happen. So I'm going to go for it and see what happens. But when we spoke, it was like I'd known you forever. It was like talking to a friend. I've known people who have high-level careers or known kind of like high-level connections, and they kind of adopt the attitude of like superiority or something like that. And it can be a little bit daunting to interact in those circles with certain personalities. But there's absolutely none of that with you. You spoke to me at exactly the level I needed to be communicated with. You zoned in specifically on my things that I wanted to work on. And you were like very understanding, very, very kind. You always have been. I mean, you can be a little bit hardcore when I need a little bit of a push, and I need that. But you're always kind. And I didn't sign up for someone to like tell me what I want to hear. I signed up for someone to tell me what I need to do and what I need to know. So it was really, well, I myself pretty spiritual person, so the fact that you were able to tap into my specific pictures, both of things that I can achieve and things that I need to let go of, was very, very powerful to me. So it was a perfect combination of actionable steps and your intuitive gifts. I'm not even sure if that's the correct way to describe it, but it was a perfect combination of what I needed. And I think you tried to explain the pictures and things like that to me, and it took me a while to get it. I was like, I kind of got it, but it's an experience you have to kind of walk through with you. But it's extremely focused, extremely targeted. You don't waste time on stuff that doesn't matter. You cut out all the circling around kind of stuff, maybe like the filler and other programs I've done or the coaching, because I think they're just kind of, other people are talking to more of the masses, a general sort of information that they're giving out, whereas what you're doing is 1,000% zoned in and targeted, and it's specific to each person, and you provide not only the instructions, but the compassion and the support and the that kind of thing that people really need. If they need a push, you'll give it. If they need a little bit of a day where you're like, yeah, I get that, that was rough, you also give that too. So I still don't know exactly in specific words how to tell other people what you do, except that you can target what they need from action and support, and do it fast and efficiently. And you do it the best. So that's my experience.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. It's very interesting because, just hearing you speak compared to when you walk through the door, so to speak, is just so different. I mean, it's like 180. I mean, you're very clear. We've worked on your messaging based on you. Our communication is our messaging. I don't care if you're ordering a coffee and the person delivers the coffee wrong to you. That was a reflection of your messaging. So we've worked on your messaging and, on all levels, all the way to your brand, but just you as a human being, where the messaging comes from. Are you pulling it from your inner core, or is it the superficial, I call it like cereal box jargon, where you're just spitting out dialogue, or you're emanating your body language just robotically, or is it really touching and pulling from the depths of who you are and communicating from that level. And as you speak, I mean, you're just so direct and it's so clean and clear and precise. So it's, that's interesting to watch now. And I wanted to zone in on a couple things where you spoke about pictures and how I kind of spoke to you without even knowing you, because I mentioned this to a lot of people about blueprints, and now I'm the only person that can see blueprints, and like that exoskeleton inside all of us that is like a fingerprint, and it's this apparatus that wants to fulfill its own prophecy in a human form, and when we talk about that, and I can see those things, and saw those things, and you're going, look, you need to work on this, and you need to work on that. It's not this, let's talk about your confidence. Let's talk about your self-esteem. It's literally looking at what pictures. So I want you to describe what you mean when you talk about pictures, so that people can understand from your perspective, which might pull the shades back a little bit on the window looking in.
For sure. Well, just a quick comment about the general messaging, like you just said, like let's work on your confidence, let's work on this, blah, blah, blah. At the time I met you, I completely had my fill of that. I kind of felt like if I had to do one more meditation or one more random affirmation, I was going to lose it. I'm just like, this is not what I need at this point. But in terms of the pictures, what you mentioned about communication, you said you need to clean up your communication and messaging in all areas of your life to be able to move forward into where you want to be and what you want to do and the people you want to meet and all that sort of stuff. And that, interestingly, I think was one of the really most pivotal things that we've worked on so far. Like, it's been huge. It's translated to setting clear boundaries. It's not being back and forth in what I'm saying, showing up in one mood or energy one day and and completely different aspect of myself the next day. It's provided me with grounding and focus. I'm like, okay, this is what I have to say. This is my opinion. And I don't have to be swayed by the reaction of that person. I think one big session we had was about remaining neutral in your decision, firm in your decision, but neutral about the reaction of what it calls out in other people, because it's not about you and it doesn't change where you're coming from. At the beginning of this call, I did mention that I was a little bit intimidated by your celeb clientele, because in general I've had the habit of seeing people in different career capacities as on a pedestal, that type of thing. And how that relates to this part of the conversation is that cleaning up the messaging in itself and being firm in what my message is to me, truly what my message is to me, and standing firm on that in all aspects, whether it's relationships, whether it's business, whether it's work, friends, whatever, family, has changed that for me. I just noticed recently that I have been talking with people I normally feel intimidated by, like lawyers, engineers, that type of thing. They keep showing up in different capacities for me. And at one point I felt like I wouldn't be able to speak with them. And I just realized, actually this morning before this call, a lawyer messaged me through Messenger and Facebook just to chat about something. And I was like, I just told him that if he wants an answer, get back to me by this time. I'm like, wow, I actually did that. And normally I would be like, oh, I better defer to what works for him, that type of thing. So that's been a huge example. I don't know, would you like anything more? Or does that kind of make it clear to you how things have played out in terms of you like showing me pictures and things transitioning from them?
Yeah, absolutely, and that is a testament. When people go, I had someone reach out to me and say, I saw what you're doing. it's amazing, it's quite the impact you're having and all that kind of stuff. And I, thank you, and was gracious as usual. And because, this is my part, this is part of my journey, and outside of my own endeavors, sometimes people ask me, what do you care about more, your own stuff or your clients? And I would, it's tough because it's like going, do I not care about someone else's, kid because I have a kid? I care about all kids, but
yes,
I'd say in different times, I sway because I take it so seriously about what I'm doing with people that, even selective in who I work with. And, I had someone reach out to me and, with the compliments and everything, and say, literally finished off the message with, what can you do for me and how can you help me blow up? And, and I sat there for a second and going, it's very interesting because, in my own selection process and vetting out who I feel is a good alignment for me or is worth giving my skill set to and what I'm capable of and what I'm doing, I also look at how they are approaching it themselves. And I'm not here to just blow people up. I'm here to help people get it all, be grounded in a very spiritual way, but at the same time, achieve what it is that they want to achieve, and even achieve more than what they want to achieve. So when you're explaining the pictures and I delve into blueprints and everything, this is somebody's livelihood, and I'm here to help them fulfill kind of like their original life prophecy. I take that very seriously. So you did answer it in your own words, because it's impressive to see the form of measure of a result that you decided to share right now, which is something that most people would go like, but is that really success? Is that really results? It's results if you can be yourself more often. If you can be more consistent with your messaging the way that you're talking about, in the messaging of just a pure connection, just bringing you to that environment of connecting with that attorney, you're looking at it and going, I am going to approach him in a consistent way that I approach everything. And I'm going to message him from my purity and my truth and my heart and my business acumen all in one punch. Boom. And I'm going to do it like I did yesterday. And I'm going to do it like I did before. And I'm going to do it tomorrow. And when you can do that at that level of consistency, you're talking mental strength in that moment. You're talking much higher self-awareness than you did, say, you had before. And that's not to say, man, you were a total shambles before, but it's
I was shaky, yes. I agree.
But it's those small tweaks, those small adjustments combined causing a massive adjustment, the mental strength in that situation, the fact that you're self-aware, the fact that you're watching your messaging and going, I'm going to message this purely conscious, very aware of what I'm saying, very aware of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, that way. I'm going to put Nancy on it,
Yes, and actually just to further the point, what this morning showed me, because it just literally came out of my mouth that, I'm willing to talk to you, but if you actually want to continue this conversation and follow up on this, I need this deadline. That just came out of my mouth, which would have taken 10,000 rehearsals and transformations before I ever said it before. It just popped out. But how that's relevant to further things like the business process that we're working on together. I remember sort of halfway through where we're at now, you had said, I see you like advising these types of clients and these types of companies and working with these people, and couldn't fathom that then, because I'm like, I don't think I can actually have a conversation with these people, let alone go in and tell them what I think they should do. But this morning, it just happened so easily and naturally that I'm like, wow, now I see it. Now I feel that I'm on my way to doing it. So that is a big connector between my own energy, my own confidence, and just transforming that into what I want to do as an entrepreneur in my business. So that's kind of like the hookup link.
And it spills over into other areas. I mean, how it's adjusted you as a mother, how it's adjusted you as a friend, how it's adjusted you as a colleague at your work where you're at right now as an executive. I mean, you lead a team. You know, you work for, and I can let you tell a little bit, more about who you are, and then, we'll segue into, what it is you're doing, because I feel like if people really want to know the ins and outs of the high-tech advanced thing I'm doing, as you said so poignantly, you kind of have to be in it and see it for yourself, because it's so different for everyone. It's tailor-made. This isn't a system. It's not a protocol. It's not, this isn't a book. It's not a 9-set DVD series that you can buy for $19.99 and follow it. I don't believe in that.
No.
That. I don't promote that for anyone. I don't condone anybody who's doing that, because you cannot tell everyone that the solution is just like everybody else, because everybody's different. So I appreciate you segueing to that and being very delicate about the privacy of our sessions, and that I don't talk about the details, because the pictures we moved out of your space and dealt with were things that you didn't even know were there, but also made sense on how it would parlay into you now getting approached by attorneys to say, hey, how does it work? What is it? Tell me a little bit about what you're doing for, Boomerang Human Development and all that kind of stuff, which is your, the thing you're launching. But tell everybody who you are on a day-to-day basis, not just as a mother raising, some beautiful, talented kids, but also what you do on a day-to-day basis at your company as an executive and a team leader.
Oh, yes, for sure. So I work in medical research at a high-tech research facility in Toronto. We facilitate research for 2 major hospitals there, the Hospital for Sick Children and Mount Sinai Hospital. We're a holding center where the doctors come and perform the investigations that are leading to solutions to major diseases like, for example, autism, heart disease, cancer, all the stuff that's genetically related. We are pretty much state-of-the-art center in Toronto for that capacity, and we're pretty well known throughout the world in the research capacity. So we're a large facility, and I oversee the animal husbandry team. So for anyone who doesn't know, animal husbandry in a research facility is providing direct care in a standardized way to the research animals. Like, we owe a lot to mice. They are genetic models of human disease, and we have extremely strict procedures for caring for them and standardized processes. And we actually follow the Toyota lean management system. So that is about efficiency, cutting out unnecessary steps, and developing repeatable, actionable processes. So my position involves a lot of overseeing of the standard operating procedures among the staff, a lot of training, and just a lot of follow-up to make sure that those processes are actually being followed. But 25 people come with 25 different personalities. So as much as you can standardize something, you can never standardize the human experience and a person and just lump them into a system. Because they're going through stuff, right, especially with the pandemic and just life stuff going on. We've had a lot of things to deal with on a personal, emotional, human level. And I feel that being clear about my messaging has really helped me take that further, connect with them. At the end of the day, I do have that human component where I do know my team pretty well and try to connect with them weekly on a personal level just to say, hey, what's going on? How are things for you? On the other flip side of that is I have to be their supervisor, their overseer, their manager. That's my job as well. For example, there's one lady dealing with severe anxiety, and I can appreciate that. At the end of the day, my job is to make sure that what happens in the holding rooms and in my care happens the way it needs to. So I guess an example recently, which has helped me a lot from becoming clear about the messaging, is that I know she was experiencing overwhelm, and so we talked about that, and I have done my best to support her on that front. We went over some expectations about the job position because there seemed to be some confusion. We did that 3 times, actually. And even though she is, my heart goes out to her, honestly. Anxiety at that level is not an easy thing to deal with. But it's come to the point where I had to be neutral about my decision and basically kind of be a little more hardcore with her and just say, in writing and in person, this is what you need to do. These are your expectations, and if you don't do them, we're going to need further follow-up with you. So please let me know if something's not clear. And that was a hard thing to do, right, because my heart goes out to her. But the work we've done have really helped me be neutral about that decision, because in the end, I'm her supervisor, her manager, and she has to do what needs to be done in the position she's at. So yeah, so that's a little bit of an example, or a very long blurb about my example. Sorry.
No, not at all. No, I mean, the whole point is that this is not rehearsed. This is, we're just having a chat and letting people look into what the experience is like, from your perspective, and let people understand that, I'd say the final thing that, in this segment with you is to let people take a look at what it's like to have someone like me. Look, I'm not saying I'm the answer to everybody. Can I help everyone? Absolutely. Am I the right alignment, or do they resonate with me, or do I resonate with them? And that's a completely different scenario. I mean, that's like, saying, there's a football player, he can play on any team, but what team is he best suited for? It's the same concept. And so what I always suggest to people going like, hey, look, if it's not me, if you're not working on yourself on a daily basis, you are effed, period. Because the goal here is to develop ourselves as an individual, and how that individual can help elevate the collective. And when I mean the collective, I'm talking about everybody. And I put a post on my Facebook page recently with talking about something like this and saying, look, I worked on myself when I was a little kid, always looking at myself, always trying to go like, I need to do that better. I need to get better. I want that to be better. I don't like that I do that. I don't like that I say that. I want people to understand me at another level. I want all these things that were just innate. And and I posted about this going, think about this. If it's not important enough to do it for yourself, do it for all the rest of us, because we get the worst version of you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I get to experience your anger and your resentment and your all that you're unsettled about your past. That's what you give me. I give you somebody who's working on themselves, somebody who looks at themselves, knows when he's done something that could have been better. I take the time to look at it and go, the next experience, someone's going to get the better Jefferson. And I ask for forgiveness from that person and go like, hey, look, I didn't handle that the best that I could have. I know I can do better. You don't deserve to have Jefferson, subpar. You deserve to have Jefferson 4 million.0, So I encourage people to go like, find someone to give you that outside perspective. Be working on yourself. You can't, the picture can't see the frame. So I wanted to open the floor before we go is like, yes, I'm honored that you chose me, and we're doing killer stuff and the stuff you're launching, and that people are going to check out. Go to her Facebook page, Nancy Mae Simpson. I'll put it in the information below the YouTube video so that you can see it. But what is your position on finding someone that is skilled and trained in or in whatever capacity to help you develop whatever you're doing, be a better person, be a better father, be a better mother, whatever it is, or all of it. What is your perspective and position on that?
Wow, it's incredible. It's friggin' amazing. It's the only way I can describe it, and it's everything I asked for and everything I didn't think existed. As I told you, I've done, and I've done a lot of personal work, and I believe in that. I believe that we always need to be working to become the better version of ourselves, or as you said, we're just not. We're not going to get there. And that kind of goes back to the beginning of our or somewhere in this conversation where someone asked you, is your personal stuff more important, or is the stuff more important for the people that you help? And I really feel it has to be both. As you said, if you weren't continuously doing the work on yourself, you couldn't show up for the people you're helping in the way that you do. And that's something I super respect about you. I think it's so important, and I think that no matter where you're at or what level you get to, you have to continue to do that. So yeah, every day I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I met the exact person who can targetedly tell me exactly what I need to do in actionable steps, and yet has this like huge supportive sort of spiritual component and gets that part of me as well. So honestly, I'm so thankful. Sometimes it feels like, did this really happen? Is this really happening? How did it happen? All that matters is that it did. We connected, and you found us to be a fit to work together. You made things doable for me, and I so appreciate that. I'm just super thankful, and it's a perfect fit. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, it's mutual, and, you've really taken to the ideology and the mindset of this and reflecting back or with the world around you and taking a look at where's that coming from in me and how do I move that and this, I joke about it, this isn't, positive affirmations and put them on your wall and little sticky notes, stare in the mirror and say, I am great, I am valuable. This is whole nother level. It's kind of like if you were living in a town and the water that's coming to the town that you turn on your faucet is dirty, and you're not going and looking at the irrigation center and the water filtration system that is where the water is originating from, you're never going to really solve the problem. You have to go back to where everything originates. And
for sure. And what I'd like to say about our work together is that as much as I'm excited about the outcomes and the positive stuff that's happened, you had no hesitation about showing me the dirty water and the messy stuff and being like, well, there's this. What do you think about that? And this is what you need to do to deal with that. And you're always appropriately assertive. You're never, you're never too much for me. You always approach me with kindness. You push me when I need to be pushed. And I appreciate that, but without looking at that stuff and going through it, and sometimes it doesn't feel great. I mean, there's days where I'm like, wow, I really didn't like that version of me that showed up. But this is the stuff I need to do that we're working on to take that out and move past that, and that's so important. So I absolutely agree with what you're saying right now.
Yeah, thank you so much, and congratulations on all the things that are happening for you and all the people that are reaching out and they're seeing the shift and they don't know what it's taking for you to get there, but they get to receive your talent and your gifts for what you've done for yourself so that they can, and that speaks volumes about the human being that you are and the professional woman that you are and are becoming and all of that. And for those listening and who reach out to her and connect with her about what she's doing and just her as a person, I mean, I am confident that you'll be pleasantly surprised at the level of quality that she brings to the table and how much you'd benefit from it. And I continue to stay honored that you trust me with not only your existence, but your children's existence, because, the better you, the better them, and I'm fully aware of the implications of that, so I take that all in consideration as how I show up for you every time, and I'm here to support you and make sure that you achieve everything that you're achieving now and in the future.
No, I completely appreciate the work we're doing and the gift it is to work with you, so thank you so very much.
Absolutely, word them up. So tell them where they can get a hold of you, and spell your name out so they can find you on Facebook or your YouTube channel that you're starting and all that.
Yeah, so right now the most direct way to connect with me would be on my Facebook. So it's Nancy, Nancy Mae, Mae Simpson, it's actually on Facebook, it's Nancy Mae. So Nancy Mae. So yeah, I would love to have a conversation there with anyone who's interested. So that would be amazing.
Absolutely. So everybody keep an eye out for her. She's got, products coming to the market. She's got lots of cool things happening, and I'm confident you'll be hearing about her more and more. So thank you, everybody. An inside look at the client confessions, and we'll be back with more. Thanks for tuning into the Jefferson Keith Langley YouTube channel, and, inwards and upwards.